Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. We're really excited about this one as it's the premiere of our 2019 State of Partner Marketing Research and Report. My name is Dan Mott, Director of Marketing Services here at Affluent Vision, and I have the pleasure of bringing you the results of our 2019 research. A little bit about us before we get started. AFV is an IT sales and marketing agency that supports hundreds of partners nationwide and beyond. We eagerly work with manufacturers and distributors to increase channel program participation, execution, and results, further helping partners to make an impact with their IT marketing. We're driven to enable partners through the implementation of a consistent, sophisticated marketing strategy. Over the past 17 years dedicated to the IT industry, we've built proven methodologies and processes that continue to drive the success of ourselves, our partners, and our clients. In the next half hour, I'll be sharing with key findings from this year's report. And for those of you who are joining us live, you'll receive early access to that report shortly after we wrap up this afternoon's session. If you have any questions about the findings being presented, please feel free to enter them into the Q&A section. I'll do my best to incorporate your questions as we make our way through the data, but we'll have some time at the end to revisit any questions that may have not yet been answered. So what can we expect from today's webinar premiere? We'll start by sharing with you the story of our State of Partner Marketing research, why it has been an impactful initiative for ourselves in the channel, and how it has evolved since inception. From there, we'll dive into the 7 key findings from this year's report. We'll cover each in detail, providing an overview of the data and the implications it has on you or your partner's business. And finally, we'll open up the floor to answer any questions you may have about the data or our findings. But we always do our best to keep these webinars to 30 minutes, so I don't want to waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get started. AFV's State of Partner Marketing research was implemented in 2017 to identify the common challenges that partners face when it comes to IT marketing. We're driven to better understand how to enable and support partners, so the induction of this research was a necessity for us. In 2018, we released our first report, which identified the impact that channel marketing programs have on partners. As many of you know, these programs have been developed by manufacturers and distributors with the primary objective of enabling partners through marketing resources, including platforms, support, content, and campaigns. But we'll hear more about that later in this presentation. From our 2018 research, we learned a lot about partners and how they work with the channel to grow their business. Partners look for support from experts who know the IT industry first and marketing best practices second. They want support with strategic planning, campaign execution, and MDF management. They identified that manufacturer-provided content is important, but needs to have better messaging. Partners appreciate the additional resources offered by manufacturer marketing platforms, but struggle to get engaged without two-partner communications and hands-on guidance. And ultimately, partners want to include their own brand, message, and content in their co-marketing efforts. The takeaway for us from last year's report is that partners rely on manufacturers for marketing support, but need the freedom to lead with their own brand. They're appreciative of the resources, but need to take matters into their own hands if they truly want to differentiate themselves. So when we conducted this year's research, we wanted to tell the next logical step in this story. If partners have the need and want to invest in more strategic approach to marketing, then what steps are they taking on their own to achieve these goals? And that's where we find ourselves today as we premiere the 2019 State of Partner Marketing research. The key findings from this year's report are as follows. 1. Marketing is becoming increasingly important for partners who want to differentiate themselves and grow their business. This is no different than last year. However, digital transformation continues to drive partners to prioritize their managed services, multi-vendor solutions, and even proprietary solutions. Partners are no longer selling boxes and cannot afford to rely on the brand reputation of their vendor partners. They need to create a name for themselves, and marketing is how they plan to do so. 2. Partners know they need to be more strategic, but few have the infrastructure or expertise to support these efforts. If partners choose to take matters into their own hands, they'll need the tools, the infrastructure, and resources that enable them to do so. As we see from the data, some partners are well on their way, while others may be missing some of the key components. 3. There's a significant disconnect between sales and marketing, resulting in a negative impact to customer experience. This should come as no surprise to any of us, but the numbers serve as a stark reminder. When customers are researching your company to decide whether or not they want to do business with you, it's important to be consistent with messaging. If marketing is saying something different than sales, it may just be enough for a potential customer to walk. 4. Despite the fact many partners are increasing their internal marketing efforts, they still lean on manufacturers for support and resources. We're very lucky to be in an industry that is so collaborative. Manufacturers, distributors, and partners all working together to achieve similar goals. However, as our individual needs evolve, it is important to communicate and adapt to ensure continued alignment. At the end of the day, no one group can be successful without the others. 5. Manufacturers are more responsive to partner needs and are creating better content than a year ago. A perfect tie-in to the last point. We like to say this is a direct result of our last year's report, but no matter how it came about, we saw an increase in the usage of manufacturer-provided content this year over last. 6. Channel marketing platforms are trending towards becoming resource hubs as partners continue to invest in their own marketing automation. It's hard enough to centralize data and reporting, but to have to do so for every vendor requires significant time and resources. Now that more partners are investing in their own marketing infrastructure, the resources are becoming more important than the tool itself. This includes content, campaigns, and funding. Now, this last key finding is really an observation made from the previous 6. The primary focus on ROI has pushed partners to prioritize short-term results, paradoxically having a negative impact on the ability to create long-term pipeline and business growth. With more access to data than ever before, it becomes easy to scrutinize the success of every single marketing activity. Specifically, how did this have an impact on sales? But this narrow focus can leave us to forget the importance of creating brand awareness or even building loyalty with the customers we already have. All phases of the sales funnel, and more importantly, the buyer's journey, must be considered equally. So let's take a closer look into our first key finding. Marketing is becoming increasingly important for partners who want to differentiate themselves and grow their business. Again, this is something that was indicated in our 2018 report, but continues to be reinforced by our 2019 findings. Of the partners surveyed in our research, 11% indicated that they do not participate in co-branding. They solely represent their own company in their content. Partners don't want to lead with vendor messaging because it may not be the right fit for a particular prospect. Showcasing their own brand first allows them to enter into a conversation with an unbiased opinion and recommend the right solution based on the prospect's needs and pain points. For this reason, manufacturers will have more success developing and providing content that focuses on the middle and bottom of funnel. So if partners are reliant on themselves to create awareness, then how are they targeting prospects? We wanted to get a better understanding of how partners manage customer data and the impact it has on their marketing efforts. Our findings showed that creating segmented lists alone had no impact on marketing efforts. However, on average, partners who develop buyer personas generate 46% more leads per month than those who don't. Therefore, it's not the act of segmenting data alone that leads to better marketing, but going through the process of developing a deep understanding of the buyer that yields better results. So partners, if you truly want to differentiate yourself from the competition, start with your customers, your prospects. Get to know them and provide them with content that will make their lives easier. It will help you stand out, but more importantly, help you start a conversation that hopefully leads to a long-term relationship. Our second key finding indicates that partners know they need to be more strategic, but few have the infrastructure or expertise to support these efforts. In 2018, our research showed that 1 in 3 partners executed 5% or less of their overall marketing efforts through a manufacturer platform. But if that's the case, then where are these partners executing? That's why we asked, this year, what investments partners had made in marketing technology infrastructure, specifically in a CRM or marketing automation. The data reveals that 38% of partners are currently investing in both a CRM and marketing automation software, approximately a third of the partners surveyed. Could this be the same third that were not using manufacturer platforms to execute in 2018? We'll have to circle back to this in a later key finding. We also asked partners what kind of tactics they're executing and at which frequency they do so with this marketing infrastructure in place. Only 12% of partners reported that they have implemented a fully integrated, consistent marketing strategy, or in other words, that they frequently use or regularly schedule all the tactics listed in our survey, including social media, email marketing, events, blogging, and digital advertising. For partners who want to join that 12%, it's recommended that you document your marketing strategy and consistently execute against multiple channels. This will help you to stay relevant with your customers and prospects. Now, this is a key finding that shouldn't surprise any of us. There's a significant disconnect between sales and marketing, and it's resulting in a negative impact to customer experience. This is something that gets preached all the time, so why is no one doing anything about it? When it comes to lead generation, 22% of marketers believe they produce the majority, 75% or more, of monthly leads. However, absolutely every single sales participant disagreed with this statement. 0% of sales reps believe that marketing produces the majority of monthly sales leads. But even more interesting, when we asked those who identified as company executives, 30% believe this statement to be true, overestimating even what marketers believe about themselves. On the other side of the coin, we wanted to know how sales is engaging with the leads that marketing is actually generating. Sales reps reported that they follow up on 66% of leads generated by their marketing counterparts. However, marketers said that this number is actually closer to 22%. What do company executives believe? This time, overestimating sales, executives believe they are following up with 78% of the leads that are generated by marketing. If you want to build a positive customer experience, it's important to get all teams on the same page. Build and agree upon processes regarding what qualifies a lead, when it should be handed off to sales, and how many touches they should receive within a given time frame. Despite the fact that many partners are increasing their internal marketing efforts, they still lean on manufacturers for support and resources. Again, the key takeaway from 2018 report was that partners rely on manufacturers for marketing support, but need the freedom to lead with their own brand. So this year, we wanted to know a bit more about their content needs. 48% of partners responded they use manufacturer content on a monthly basis, with 17% even listing it as their primary source for content. And it wouldn't be the state of partner marketing if we didn't talk about MDF. Of the partners surveyed, 91% are taking advantage of some form of funding from manufacturers or distributors. And on average, MDF makes up over 60% of a partner's annual marketing budget. So on behalf of our survey respondents, many of whom are on today's webinar, thank you to those of you that are involved in the channel programs that continue to support the partner community. Moving on to our fifth key finding, manufacturers are more responsive to partner needs and are creating better content than a year ago. Last year, partners were asked to rate the effectiveness of manufacturer-provided content on a scale from useless to extremely useful. 53% of partners viewed existing content as mediocre or worse. Among other findings, we concluded that partners appreciate manufacturer content, but the quality of that content needed improvement. As discussed in the last slide, in 2019, partners are much more engaged with manufacturer content, approximately half of whom use it on a monthly basis, and again, 17% listed as their primary source. But even when partners create their own, manufacturer messaging and branding is still included. 34% of partners responded that they co-brand the majority of all their content. So to those of you who manage partners or channel programs, please encourage your teams to keep producing quality content. Partners are counting on it. Now, we've already discussed a few trends that lead to this next key finding. Channel marketing platforms are trending towards becoming resource hubs as partners continue to invest in their own marketing automation. We know that partners rely on manufacturer resources. Almost half of them depend on content, and MDF makes about 60% of their marketing budget. However, usage of these platforms is trending towards serving as the main hub for channel marketing resources, as opposed to the automation features they're built around. In 2018, 21% of partners responded that they either don't have access to or don't actively use manufacturer platforms. This number has increased since last year, as currently 27% of partners don't have access to or don't actively use these platforms. With 60% of partners purchasing their own marketing automation software, we don't see this trend slowing down anytime soon. Keep the focus on building a repository for access to funds, great content, great campaigns, and world-class vendors like AFV. Sorry, I couldn't resist a shameless plug there. And last but not least, the seventh key finding of the 2019 State of Partner Marketing Report. The primary focus on ROI has pushed partners to prioritize short-term results, paradoxically having a negative impact on the ability to create long-term pipeline and business growth. We've seen this trend throughout this report. There's an increasing need for better marketing. Partners who have developed buyer personas generate 46% more leads per month than those who don't. But it's hard to be strategic without the right marketing infrastructure. Only 38% of partners are currently investing in both the CRM and marketing automation software. The disconnect between sales and marketing only adds pressure to the need to provide results. Only 22% of marketing leads are reported to be followed up with by sales. So there are a number of challenges that marketers are facing when reporting ROI. The activities that perform best tend to be those that are near the bottom of the funnel. Because a closed deal is an attractive metric to report. However, a lack of investment in creating awareness or building customer loyalty can certainly make this difficult to create long-term business growth. It's no wonder then that partners turn to manufacturers and distributors for additional support. Again, on average, MDF makes up about 60% of the partner's annual marketing budget, and the content being provided is getting better too. In 2018, approximately half of partners viewed manufacturer content as mediocre or worse, but in 2019, 17% of partners listed as their primary source for content. Because of this, channel marketing platforms are becoming more like resource hubs, with 60% of partners purchasing their own marketing automation. We definitely don't see this trend slowing down. However, marketers still run into the same issue here. With proof of performance required for redemption of funds, it can be easy to prioritize activities focused on bottom of funnel activities. Other metrics than leads should be measured throughout the buyer's journey. Partners need to prioritize long-term strategy to achieve sustainable business growth. Those that do so will reap the benefits. And thus concludes our 7 key findings from this year's State of Partner Marketing Report. Thank you so much for joining the premiere of our research, and for those of you who joined us live, please keep an eye out for early access to the report coming shortly to your inbox. And as an additional bonus, all partners have been entered into a raffle to receive a complimentary social media presence package valued at $1,500. But it looks like we have a few questions from today's findings, so let's open it up to Q&A. If you have any additional questions at this time, please enter them into the Q&A section now. So the first question we have is, what are the best marketing tactics to include in our strategy? So we actually have a breakdown that wasn't included in this presentation, but you can actually find that in the report itself that lists out, at which frequency partners are actively using, tactics like email marketing, social media, advertising, blogging, creating content, all things like that. But I think the most important thing, especially if you're getting started, in marketing, is to really take advantage of some of the free ones like email. It's very easy, a lot of us have access to at least some sort of list, communicate with our existing customers or prospects that our sales reps are talking to, and social media is really another good way to expand this reach as well. The thing is, there's really no right or wrong approach to marketing. It's just about being human, connecting with people. So definitely take advantage of the free resources before you really beef up your strategy and start making large investments into marketing. So our next question is, what steps can sales and marketing take to be better aligned? So this one we covered a little bit in the presentation, and I think we do the same in the report as well. So you can dig into it there, but I think it's really just a lack of communication. So simple things like a lot of sales teams will have weekly or monthly or whatever the frequency sales meetings. If you don't have your marketers invited, or at least head of marketing to those meetings, that's definitely a great way to kind of keep both teams in the loop. And then from there, just on the day-to-day activities, how can you create an open channel of communication, so that sales is supporting marketing and vice versa. Establish timetables and timeframes. When a lead, what constitutes a lead first in the first place. When it comes into your pipeline, how are you identifying it? How is it being tagged and how is it being passed along to sales? At that point, what is the cadence and the frequency at which sales is reaching out to it? Is it multiple emails, phone calls, connecting on social media, sending video messages, just writing down these, coming to an agreement between the two teams, and especially with the executive team in place to kind of write off on it, establish these whole metrics and put them in place and then stick to them. Then you can find weaknesses, strengths from there to help you optimize this process, but at least you have it documented and you're kind of following these guidelines. So we got another question that says, that asks when we will have access to the full report. So for those of you that are joining us today, we will actually be sending out an email shortly. You should receive it within the next hour or so. You can access the report directly from there and go through the data and then get back to us if you have any questions. For everyone else, the report will not be released until next week. So everyone on this call, on this webinar certainly does get early access to the findings. All right, looks like those are all the questions that we have for right now. I'm sure as you go through the report, you'll have a few more. So there's plenty of contact information to get in touch with myself or our team to answer any of your questions. So feel free to get in touch with us then. So we're coming up on time here, and I just want to say to partners, channel managers, and really everyone in between, consider these key findings and what they mean for your business in 2019 and beyond. Be sure to connect with us for a free consultation of how to use these findings to take actionable steps to improve your marketing. This webinar is part of our quarterly series, so be sure to subscribe and get access to all our IT marketing content and resources. My name is Dan Mott, and thank you again for joining me in today's webinar. If you want to learn more about our research and key findings, be sure to get in touch. I could talk about this stuff all day, so be thankful that they cut me off at 30 minutes. No matter where you are in your marketing journey, there's always room for improvement. What can you do to better serve your current and future customers? Now that's what marketing is all about. See you next time, everyone.